Hi, hey, I'm Morgan, and today I'm here to bring you my September and October collective book haul thing. I realized that I didn't post a September book haul, and I acquired quite a few books in September. I don't know, I just never filmed it. September was a very hectic month for your girl, so book haul didn't go up. I also acquired some books in October, so I figured that I would just do a collective haul of both months. I'm not going to be able to go chronologically in the order of which I bought these books. I know which ones I bought in September and which ones I bought in October, but it's about all I can do for it. I'm not going to be like, this is the one that I bought on September 17th at 8:22 a.m. Like, no, that's not how this is going to work. I don't know how people can keep track of the order in which they bought books. I don't know, maybe people are just more organized than me. That's a possibility. So I have two piles here. The smaller one are books that I got in October, and the bigger one are books that I got in September. So we're just gonna get into this. The first book that I'm going to talk about is Before She Ignites by Jodi Meadows, and this came in the September Mythical Creatures Owl Crate, which I have an unboxing for on my channel. This is a young adult high fantasy story following a main character with OCD, and that's really the only, and dragons are in this, and that's really the only thing I really know going into this. I haven't read it yet, but I'm really excited to, because as you know, I am a huge spokeswoman for obsessive compulsive disorder representation in YA, so yeah, I'm excited to read this. I like to go into fantasy novels more blindly than I do with anything else, just because I feel like with fantasy books the synopsis tends to spoil a lot. Like, I've read fantasy books where like they mention something in the synopsis that doesn't happen until like 300 pages into the book, and it's like, why was that in the synopsis? So I don't read the synopsis for fantasy books all that much anymore. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Merciless 2 by Danielle Vega, The Exorcism of Sofia Flores. This is the sequel to The Merciless, obviously. I haven't read The Merciless. I've heard hit or miss things with this series, but I like exorcism stories, I like spooky books. I'm hoping that this satisfies both those things. And the next one is not a surprise to anybody, and you know, everyone and their mom knows how I feel about this book, and it is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I read this in September, obviously, and I absolutely adored it. Every time I've gone to film my review for this book, it's been a shit show, so I'm hoping to get a review for this up in the near future. This is a contemporary novel with kind of a twist, and it's set in 2017, but with a twist. In this world, there is a company called Deathcast that has this like algorithm, and they inform you you're going to die in the next 24 hours, and basically to make the most of your life. And it follows two boys, Mateo and Rufus, that receive the call from Deathcast on the same day and connect with each other through an app called Last Friend, and they spend their last day together. It's beautiful, it's heartbreaking, it's phenomenal, it's diverse, I love it so much. I love Adam Silvera, and this did not disappoint me in the slightest. And the next book that I got was Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. I read We Were Liars 2 years ago, and I didn't like it, but I wanted to give E. Lockhart's writing another chance. E. Lockhart's synopses are very vague. Imogene is a runaway heiress, an orphan, a cook, and a cheat. Jewel is a fighter, a social chameleon, and an athlete. An intense friendship, a disappearance, a murder, or maybe two, a bad romance, or maybe three. Blunt objects, disguises, blood, and chocolate, the American dream. Superheroes, spies, and villains. A girl who refuses to give people what they want from her. A girl who refuses to be the person she once was. I don't know what the fuck any of that means. It's not that I am like choosing to go into this blindly, it's that E. Lockhart literally gives you no other option. I'm excited to read this and to give E. Lockhart a second chance. I also really like this cover. Also, it's super cute naked, just like me. That was stupid. And the next book is one that I got in another bookish subscription service, and that was Paintbrush by Hannah Buchan. I don't know, I'm butchering this name, am I right? I got this in the Once Upon a Book Club subscription box. I tried it out for a month because I was going to do an in-depth review of it on my channel. The video didn't turn out the way that I really wanted it to, but maybe I'll still upload it. I haven't decided yet. Also, I haven't finished the book yet, so the video is not done because this book isn't very interesting. It follows these two main kids, Mitchell and Josie, and they live at this place called Indian Paintbrush Community Village. It's basically described as like a hippie compound. This like super intense scandal goes on with Mitchell's mother, and it changes the whole atmosphere of the like community, and Josie has had a thing for Mitchell basically her entire life. I'm not enjoying this book very much. It's just bland. I don't know. I was, because the way that Once Upon a Book Club works is that they send you the book and then they send you a bunch of goodies, but they're all wrapped and then have corresponding page numbers. And the premise is that you don't open those gifts until you get to that page while you're reading the book, and it's like an interactive experience. It was too expensive and I felt like it wasn't really worth the price point. I haven't even finished the book or finished unwrapping all of the gifts, but I don't know. I'll probably end up uploading that video because I don't want people to waste their money. This is the book that came in that box. I don't know if I'll finish it. It's just not for me. And the next book that I picked up was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in it used to be called the Grisha trilogy, but now I think it's called the Shadow and Bone trilogy because she's expanding the universe, so it's the Grishaverse and I don't know. This is the first book in that trilogy with the new covers. I think the new covers are way prettier than the old covers, and I think I'm gonna read this trilogy first before I read Six of Crows because I've heard it's better to do it that way. I think you can do it either way, but I'm gonna read this trilogy first. It's fantasy. I know there's a character called the Darkling. That's literally all I know. God, this cover's cute. And then I picked up Replica by Lauren Oliver. This is the first book in the Replica duology. This is like a story, like a sci-fi type of story, I think, about like clones. I don't know. You could read it like a bunch of different ways because there's Lyra's perspective and there's also Gemma's perspective. I thought that was a really interesting premise. And the last book that I picked up in September was Misery by Stephen King. This was the Hot Mess Book Club pick of the month for October. If you're new here, I'm in a book club with 3 wonderful other booktubers. Rhiannon over at Crescent Moon Reads, Dana over at Wait Listen to Hogwarts, and Deja over at Diary of a Reader. And then I'm there. We started last month. We read a book every month that we all decide on, and then we have a live show near the end of the month to discuss the book. The live show video is still up on Rhiannon's channel, so I will link that in the description if you're interested in watching that. It was, as our book club name suggests, a hot mess, but it was also our first live show, and it was a super fun time, and you'll see the November book literally here in a second, so hold your horses. This was really great. You'll hear about it more in my October wrap-up, but it's about this man named Paul Sheldon, and he is a really famous author for a series called Misery, and he had just recently published the final book in the series where he killed off the protagonist. He is in Colorado celebrating the writing of a new novel, and he thinks it's the best thing he's ever done. He gets in a horrible car accident and is taken under the care of a woman named Annie Wilkes, and it turns out Annie Wilkes is his self-proclaimed biggest fan. And when she finds out about the death of Misery in the books, she is not happy and holds him captive and forces him to write a new book to bring Misery back to life. This was so thrilling and it was intense. Like I said, I'll definitely talk about this more in my wrap-up, but I was so excited to read this for the Hot Mess Book Club, and it definitely brought these spooky vibes. Now moving on to the October books, there's 4 of them, and the first one I'm going to talk about is going to be the Hot Mess Book Club book of the month for November, and that is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I'm so excited to finally be reading this. It's been on my TBR for the longest time, and I'm so jazzed. The tentative day for the live show for this book is going to be November 20th. We haven't set a time for the live show yet, but when it gets closer to that time, I will definitely keep you guys informed. If you follow the Hot Mess Book Club Twitter or Instagram, we'll keep you guys more updated there as well. This is a young adult contemporary story about our main character Simon, and he is gay, but he is not completely out yet, and he is corresponding with this boy named Blue online. An email between them back and forth gets into the hands of someone who then blackmails Simon to help him date one of Simon's friends, I think. I'll be able to know more once I read it. But I'm really excited to read this, and I can't wait to discuss it with everyone. Let me know in the comments if you'll be reading this and joining us at the live show, because it'll be such a fun time. It's really, really fun. We love to chat with you guys. It's great. Hope to see you there. And the next book that I picked up in October, I just barely uploaded a review for, and that was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I absolutely adore this book. I pre-ordered it back in July with my local bookstore so I could get a signed copy. Yeah, signed John Green! And I read this in October, so you will obviously be seeing this in my October wrap-up as well. This is John Green's first book since The Fault in Our Stars back in 2012. It's his first book in 5 years, and I loved it. It follows our main character, Asa Holmes, and her best friend Daisy are trying to find the whereabouts of this fugitive billionaire because there is a reward for finding him. It turns out that Asa knows his son, so she reconnects with him in order to solve this great mystery. But it's less about solving the great mystery and more about Asa's self-discovery within herself and with her mental illness. Asa has severe obsessive-compulsive disorder. It is an own voices representation of OCD, and John Green knocked it out of the damn park with this one. This was a phenomenal book, and I'm so glad to have picked it up and read it in the month of October. The next book I got in October was the Owl Crate book of the month, and that was Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore. This Owl Crate exclusive cover is absolutely stunning, and it is just, oh, I love it so much. This is a magical realism about this family that has magical powers involving flowers, and that's all I know and all I want to know before I read this book. I am super excited to have it, and I can't wait to read it because I've heard amazing things about it. And the last book that I picked up this month, I have kind of a story for. For those of you that don't know, I live in Ohio. You know who else lives in Ohio and does booktube things? Jess, over at Jess Reads Books, who, if you're not subscribed to her, what are you doing? Get on that. I will leave her channel linked in the description. She has way more subscribers than I do, but like, it's fine. I want to send all my people over to her as well. She is phenomenal. She is the sweetest bean, and I love her content, and she's a phenomenal person. And we went out for coffee and to a local bookstore here, and it was a great time. It was fantastic. I found this book, and I have a recurring series here on my channel called Drunk Discussions, where I get ignorantly intoxicated and talk about books. Both of the videos I made for that series have both been Harry Potter related, but I really want to read books that I don't think I'll enjoy, or if I finish a book that I ended up not liking, I want to get just hammered and just rant about these books. Basically the premise is like, they're too bad for me to talk about when I'm sober, so I gotta let drunk Morgan come out and do the talking for me. And I found this book, and I was like, I kind of want to get this, and Jess was like, you have to get it and do a drunk video on it. And I was like, I got you. If this book is good, I will delete my channel. This book has an average 2-star rating on Goodreads. I'm probably going to read it in November, and it's going to be my drunk discussion video for the month. I'm trying to make drunk discussions a monthly series on my channel. Let me know if that's a thing that you'd want to see, because I like to do it. Instead of telling you the title right away, I'm going to read you the blurb on the back. He's a musician. She's student body chair. He's got 6-pack abs. She's got straight A's. He's 100% primal. She's a rule follower extraordinaire. He's a pterodactyl. he's a pterodactyl. This book is Hot Pterodactyl Boyfriend by Alan Cumin. This is about a girl that falls in love with a fucking pterodactyl. Let that sink in that this is a thing. And I was talking to Jess and I was like, you know how Stephanie Meyer said that she dreamt of Twilight because she had a dream of Edward and he was so sexy and all this stuff? Like, can you imagine if this author had a dream about fucking a pterodactyl? First I was like, oh, maybe it's like a metaphor. Maybe it's like a comment on society. Like, ugh. But no, he's a pterodactyl. And this girl is actively pursuing a pterodactyl as a love interest. So I'm excited. Definitely stay tuned for my drunk review of this when I read it. I have so many feelings. Hey guys, there you have it. That was my September and October book haul. Let me know if you have read any of the books that I talked about or if you're interested in any of the books that I've talked about. I love talking about books with you guys in the comments. If you want to see more of my content, you can always subscribe. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But like I said, my name is Morgan. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and happy reading. Okay, bye!